Hello, good evening, Kenya. This is Brother Benson Media, and today I'm blessed to have a great panelist with me and my good friend Mutu Andeto. And thank you so much. And my co-host Makobura. Let me take this opportunity to start with Ndeto to say hi to our viewers.
Yeah, good evening, Brother Brother.
Brother Benson.
sorry for that, Brother
Yeah,
Benson.
yeah.
It has been quite some time since we hosted this together, so I'm really humbled and I'm happy to see the kind of progress you are making. Also, Marco Bura, a new brother. I can see you are also mentoring young people to also take the space. So, to my viewer, my name is Mutu Andeto. I am a politician. I'm also so much interested when it comes to community development. So I support community organizations to support youth initiatives, not only maybe in the remote areas, but also in urban areas. So anything around young people, anything around the government of the day, anything around whatever that is happening, the geopolitical part of it, it's so interesting to me. And that's why I feel good to be part of this discussion today.
Thank you so much, my brother, for taking your time. And let me also, my co-host, to say a word or two before we go into the main discussion.
Yes, first, good evening to our viewers. Thank you for joining. I can see most of you have joined. And thanks for always supporting us. And to our guest, you are highly welcomed as we'll be getting into the discussion. Feel free. Here we just talk about issues affecting the people of Kenya and how we can come up with the solutions to the problems that we are facing as a country. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, my great panelist. And today we have one of the history that has been made in our country under dispensation of new constitution. You know, President Ruto is going to be the first president in the new dispensation, the constitution of 2010, to dissolve the entire cabinet. It has happened in our country, though not under this constitution. You remember it happened in 2005, immediately after referendum, when the late President Moi Kibaki did the same. And there's some similarity that we can draw from it. One of it is that when Kibaki dismissed his cabinet, he only left two people. That was the president, the deputy president, then, or the vice president, and the attorney general. And today, also, the president did leave out the office of the president and the office of the prime cabinet secretary, that is Honorable Musalia Mudavadi. To start with, my brother Ndeto, what is your take on the firing of cabinet by the President William Ruto?
Well, I think to start with, Ruto did a good thing because when you look to what has been happening in the country in the previous past, the protest led by Gen Z, it's not about political interest. It's all about the interest of the people. So the protest has been people-centered. We have paid tax. We are not seeing the development. These people, every Sunday, you see them in the churches, and they are not just there to praise. They are just there campaigning, giving a lot of money. At the same time, you fight in the MP kitty, that is NGCDF. Very many people are complaining about their children are not getting the bursaries. People are complaining they are not getting the amenities like good school infrastructure for their children, good healthy systems. There are no roads. And I think when you see someone dishing a lot of money, and we know their salaries, we know how much, even if they are doing businesses, Some of them, we know the business that they do, but it does not seem to yield all this amount of money. So I think it's out of this outburst that now the protesters has suggested various irreducible minimums. And one of the irreducible minimum was the president to dissolve the cabinet. Kenya is a democratic nation. And, the reason why President Ruto is in power, it is because we voted him in. So the very same way we voted him in, we have the potential, we have the opportunity to vote him out. But look at the IEBC. We have been leading a government where we do not have a structured kind of an electoral boundaries commission, So, and I think you see even yesterday what he did. I think Ruto is reflecting. He is listening to the people because, after all, it is not his friends who will maintain him in the power. Yes, they did, or they took a very great role to ensure that he is in the government. But, you can be given or you can be nominated to be a CS, but if your character is rotten, then there is no miracle. You will end up also spoiling or even misappropriating the resources of the people. So I think it is out of the lack of trust that we have to the cabinet that also we had to ask Mr. President to do that. So from my own perspective, I think that is the best thing Mr. Ruto could have done. He did it. So, and we are yet also to see what will transpire after this, because I believe also they will give some kickbacks, due to various political interests.
Okay, thank you so much. And Makobura, maybe also you can weigh your thought, bearing in mind that today also Kia Mutata said very well that by dissolving cabinet is not an issue. Yeah, that he is calling for the president to resign. Do you share the same with Kia Mutata as you weigh your thought on the fired cabinet ministers?
First, I want to take this opportunity to remind the people of Kenya. I want to take this opportunity to remind the people of Kenya that on June 25th, the revolution started in the Republic of Kenya. And out of that revolution, we can say that the country, we had a reborn. There was a nation was born, and that on this year, June 25th, because that is when the revolution started. And out of that revolution, we have started seeing it yielding some fruits that are recommendable. So as a country, first, it is true to say that the agencies have managed to do the work of the parliamentaries because as far as things are concerned, up to this point, the parliamentarians had the constitutional right of protecting the people of Kenya from having the rogue kind of CS that the Republic of Kenya had when they were appointed by the president. Remember when the president appointed these members of cabinet secretaries, they were vetted in parliament. Most of them were very incompetent, even from when they were being interviewed. But still, some of them said that these are what the president has appointed. Let us do to him as he wants. But I want to say this. The members of parliament of the Republic of Kenya, in this 14th parliament, they have messed the Republic of Kenya. Because of the problems that we are facing now in the Republic of Kenya, it is because of an incompetent parliament that the people of Kenya, given a good number of them to represent us, we delegated power to them, and we told them, go represent us. When they got there, instead of vetting and ensuring that the people who are nominated by the president to represent, to become the CS, were people who are competent, then they did they did what was not right. And for that reason, we ended up having a good number of cabinet secretaries who are corrupt, who are incompetent. Some of them do not even understand their role. Most of them are not even learned. Some of them are learned, but they're in the wrong sector, or they're made to be cabinet secretaries in the wrong dockets. So this is the reason why we are suffering as a country. And we want to thank the Jay-Z's because they have shown us the way. Out of their patriotic nature, out of that, we've seen that a good number of cabinet, actually all of the cabinet secretaries have been fired. And this is an history that has been made in the Republic of Kenya. And to confirm what the Senator of Busia said, it is not yet over. I think as far as things are concerned, the parliament should also be dissolved. After the parliament, after them dissolving the parliament, the president should then resign so that we go back to a fresh election. That is my stand as a Kenyan patriot.
Okay, thank you so much. Let me come to you, Mr. Ndeto. When you look at the protest of the Gen Z and what we have actualized and looking at the political field, do you think this one is going to change the dynamics of politics, especially in our country, where right now you know very well that on Monday they are calling for dialogue to start at Bomas of Kenya, whereby it was being proposed like almost 150 people would be there. And what is that one mean in the political field?
Okay, so number one, if these protests will yield political fruits, the answer is yes. What about if the dialogue that has been planned will yield some progressive kind of fruits? The answer is no. So I have seen different governments going the dialogue way. And I can tell you, we have very many reports. The NADICOL reports, we have also seen the Dungu reports. A lot of them based on various issues that are paining our people. But we end up using a lot of government resources, and not even the government resources, the people resources, because it's out of our tax that we finance the government. We end up wasting a lot of time. You know, if a certain woman, for example, want to like give birth in a certain healthy facility, there are no beds, there are no medicines, you know, they don't have an active NHIF, you know, will that dialogue bring anything to that kind of a Kenyan? We saw what happened during the floods. These people, the government, they end up promising people some cash transfer, which never happened. You see, we are not even prepared when it comes to emergencies. Yet some people, a few people want to sit on behalf of all Kenyan to discuss on matters that Gen Z, a movement of over 15 million people, have tried to twist what the government of the day wanted to do, you know? So from my point, Gen Z, they indicate that they do not have leaders. And let me tell you, that is a strength, because if you want to buy them, then you have to agree with what they are proposing, because you cannot manipulate anyone. So by saying that whatever the number of people who will be engaged in that dialogue, whether it is 150, whether they even double that number, I think without representation of young people, it will be so hard. Because remember, it is not those who are a bit advanced in age started this. It is out of we young people. We saw what the problems or the issues our parents are getting through. We saw even after graduating from universities or even finishing Form 4 or coming out of a TVET, the opportunities that the government of the day went around the country promising how they will create opportunities for young people. Those digital hubs, we do not see them. Those stadiums, they used to say that they will build everywhere. We do not see them. Even the very housing program, you can see it is already hijacked, because whoever who is distributing what, you have heard what these politicians are discussing around the same. So what I mean is this, that whether there will be a dialogue or not, we young people, we are not for that. And it's not out of, we are not doing this because we want to occupy power. We are doing this because we are concerned about the generation that is coming. That is our children. What are we going to answer them when they ask us, where were you when all this was done to our dear country? We need sustainability, sustainable development, where we are able to expedite the current kind of development without interfering with the future. But with this level of corruption, I can tell you our country is drowning. And whether this protest will lead to a certain political change, I can tell you where we are heading. We will see real democracy. We will see, like we see in India, the way we see also in the US, where people's voice is highly respected. You know, the change is not about a few young people or a few people sitting in the parliament and deciding to over 50 million people. Someone sitting in State House and using anarchy or maybe any other kind of leadership to coerce things to be done, you know? So maybe what I see is a nation where we shall see massive registration of voters, yes, where we shall see a lot of young people participating in a civic activities, like educating the people, like even encouraging those people who are not interested to anything to do with politics and such, because we have the tools. We are dominating in the technology, use of social media and such, where whether we go to the street or not, the discussions are still going. I know you have seen what is happening in TikTok. You have seen what is happening in X space. You have seen all those things. So we can actually protest without getting into the street. And this is the great fear that is causing the government of the day to spend a sleepless night, because they do not know what next. I heard Mr. Ruto talking about maybe we, the young people who are in the country, being funded by those who are abroad, that this thing is coordinated from outside Kenya. Come on, Mr. Ruto. We are saying it is coordinated within. If I am paying you tax, and out of this tax, I do not see anything, and you want even to go for more tax, what do you expect? When I reach at the rock bottom, you either kill me or I find my way out.
Okay. Let me just ask you here on the dialogue, because if you're very keen enough, there's different views. When you look at the Wiper Party of Kalonzo, they are saying now they cannot send, condemn or talk to the government, that the people are saying it has been a very rogue government, you know. But when you come to ODM, the ODM is saying, oh, it is the right time now we should speak, to the extent whereby some are saying that the Right Honorable Prime Minister has always come out to assist when the country is at blink. Does it mean that the allies of the political elites, they do not understand what Kenyans are saying, or they just want to come and have the dialogue of what they think is right, but what the Gen Zs or the entire Kenya is saying is not right for them? Do you think that one so, or what is happening with them?
Let me tell you something, Brother Benson. Our parents, and we love them so much, they were brought up when the politics of ethnicity, the politics of propaganda was at the peak. They did a very good thing to take us to school. And because we are learned, we have even gone through a lot of maybe materials that express what good leadership is about. And I can tell you, Gen Z is one generation that tribal lines does not apply to them. For them, unity is, are you giving us the service? Unity is, where is our country heading to? So whether there are political formations, for example, like Wiper, Orange Democratic Party, or the Azimio against Kenya Kwanza, for us, we are no longer talking about those traditional leaders. We are no longer talking about who is to say what. Raila Odinga has done his part. We have seen how much he has advanced our democracy. But we are telling him, go slow on this one, because he is not the one who started. Even Kalonzo Musyoka is not the one who started. We know how these people live. They live very posh lives, And I think there has been a culture where after election, we start campaigning for the next election, And in those campaigns is where we get a lot of promises. But these promises, these people, they end up accumulating a lot of wealth within no time. Then when we talk about audits, no one is even willing, no one is fronting that. So we are saying this, Brother Benson, whether or not, maybe the followers or the elected leaders who support Raila Odinga, they are supporting him to join hands with the government to come up with a dialogue to stabilize what is happening in the country, or whether Kalonzo is boycotting that dialogue. That is not our issue. As young people, our issue is to see my rural health center equipped. I want to see my leader, MP, utilizing the NGCDF well, giving bursaries,
Mm-hmm.
We want to see service delivery without something that is not having any derail, We want to see NHIF working, not the issue of today we are NHIF, tomorrow shift, and this is a way of, laundering our money, because out of the new applications, how many people are that learned to know how these systems operate, So whether money is stolen or not, our parent may not know, and that's why we are here. So for one, that dialogue, let them do it, but I would tell Mr. President to use that budget in a better way. He talked about budget cuts. I think that is one area he can save, because he has started doing what we want. That is dissolving the parliament. Let him go forward and also constitute the IEBC, so that now we start going for those bad leaders. If it is our MP, we can now follow the due process, the legal process. If he is not giving us service, there is a way we can do through the legal structures.
Okay, thank you so much. And let me come to Mr. Makobura. From the look of things, the government is not stable the way it is right now. And do you think by president dissolving the government or dissolving his cabinet, and do you think that is going to kind of bring stability in the government, and when he brings in new people, now the government will be stable? In your thoughts?
Before he brings new people,
Yeah.
the clarion call when this revolution started was very clear. We started with rejecting the bill, of which he did. We thank him for that. Number 2 was firing the CSS, of which he did. We thank him for that. Number 3, we want him to ensure that the IEBC is in place and that it can conduct elections. Immediately after that, he should dissolve the parliament. because symbolically, the constitution is very clear. When when the citizens delegate power to members of parliament to represent them, and then they don't do so as per what the constitution says, you saw the people went to the parliament and they took back the power that they had given to the members of parliament. Symbolically, that means that the parliament should be dissolved. But again, that is the next thing that we are waiting to see. We want to see the president dissolving the parliament. After that, he should resign, because the people of Kenya are tired with the Kenya Kwanza government. And the reason why we want the members of parliament, I mean the parliament, to be dissolved, it's very clear. First, the members of parliament have almost played the same role as per the they almost have the same challenges, the incompetency. We are seeing incompetence in the members of parliament. We actually thanking the president that he made a bold move by firing this the CS. But again, we can see the main role of this CS, or even the members of parliament, they're supposed to be helping the president in running the country. I don't know whether I'm clear, because
Yeah, we can hear you. Yes, go ahead.
Okay. So the president should be helped by this CSS and the members of parliament running the country, but that has not happened. Instead, we are seeing incompetent cabinet members of cabinet secretaries. We are seeing incompetent members of parliament, and that we can see in the likes of Honorable Kuria, Honorable Panina. Most of them lack knowledge of the docket where they're serving. We can see that the likes of Honorable Mithika Linturi, they are living a very luxurious life, courtesy, while the wananchi, the poor people, are really suffering. You find a cabinet secretary wearing a belt of 40,000, while they can't even pay teachers. Cabinet secretary walking with a watch costing 10 million. Where are we? We are also seeing them, the level of pride in them is on another level. We can see that even in the members of parliament. We can see the level of corruption in this government, where a cabinet secretary has the audacity of selling wanauza mchanga to the people of Kenya, and then they want to pretend that they are trying to solve the problems that the people of Kenya are facing. Those are the reasons why we are saying the members of parliament should also, the parliament should be dissolved, because they are not doing their work. Currently, the people who are doing the oversight, a very strong oversight is being done by the Gen Zs and the millenniums and the people of Kenya. That is the work of the members of parliament. They're not doing that. We can also see the president has started implementing very serious projects. Among the things that he promised the people of Kenya, these kind of things he would have done them long time ago, things to do with the IEBC and the rest. The president had the time to ensure that IEBC was in place immediately after the election, and people had a problem with the IEBC. He didn't ensure that that was in place. He started doing that out of the pressure that he was given by the Gen Zs. This is a role that the members of parliament were supposed to play, meaning they have failed. We are doing what? We are recalling them back. We have also seen that it is the Gen Zs who are trying to ensure that there is transparency in this government. That is a role of the parliament. Whenever we see any corrupt dealing within government, within the government, it is the role of the government to call the members of parliament and bring them and ask them why such kind of things are happening. The Gen Zs are the people who are raising these issues. The Gen Zs are actually bringing back the lost glory. But again, courtesy of the revolution, courtesy of the pressure of the Gen Zs, you can see the president has started trying to talk as if he wants to unite the people of Kenya. We told him long time ago, he knew very well that he was appointing people from two tribal communities. We told him that Kenya has more than 43 tribes. Try unite the country. He said that him and his deputy, they said that only people who have shares in this government will benefit. And this is the challenge that he's now facing. Today, he's telling us that he wants a government that is inclusive. When he was getting to power, we told him, make the government inclusive, make appointments which are inclusive. He said they have shares. Today, is crying. Today, he wants support from the likes of Raila. And we want to tell him that even if he's seeking for help from the opposition leader, we want to tell William Samoei Ruto, the President of the Republic of Kenya, that Raila cannot save you from this mess. The police cannot save him from this mess. The army that they are sending unconstitutionally to the streets of the Republic of Kenya cannot save him in this mess. The police that they are giving orders to kill the innocent young people who are protesting, who are just reminding them of the incompetency that they are showing as a government, will not save him. Ruto, in short, we are saying he must go. Him going, he has to dissolve the parliament, he has to go with the CS and resign. We want a leader who is smart, a leader who is responsible, a leader who is accountable. And that is why we are saying the people of Kenya currently have lost William Ruto has lost the legitimacy and trust of the people of Kenya. And for that reason, he has no any otherwise but to resign and live in peace. There are so many competent people in the Republic of Kenya who can run the affairs of the Republic of Kenya without corruption and all ill-minded kind of dictatorial that we are seeing in this government.
Oh, okay, thank you so much, Mr. Makobura. Mr. Ndeto, there's something here that also we think, because we are seeing a same playbook that is coming in some years back. Remember in 2018, when the Right Honorable Prime Minister and Uhuru Kenyatta shook hands, and what happened, it was kind of like a government whereby the opposition were brought in, and now the parliament was not doing his job, like the minority side, and the President Ruto then was the deputy. President Ruto now, then he was a deputy president. He became as the deputy, like the opposition leader in the same government that he's serving. And that is something that is taking place, because if you listen to president telling that he wants to make a broad government, does it mean that the issue of opposition also coming into play in the government is going to take place? And how are we going to handle this? Because this is the same playbook that usually happens. And what is the way forward for such?
Okay. Making a broad government is not bad. It is a good thing. But let me give a short replay, maybe of something that has happened in the past. Actually, if you have listened so well to Gen Z, for them, they don't want like to even replace like the president with anyone, because at the moment, if you just do your character check, all that, whether President Ruto resign and maybe we find someone else, there will not be a very big change. The problem here, it is the system. And if we can sanitize the institutions, for example, if the cabinet is not working, let it be dissolved like he did. If we go maybe to the parliament, these guys, maybe they have been bought by the executive, you know?
Yeah.
At that point, I don't think Mr. Ruto can dissolve the parliament, because the parliament is not made of nominated members, you know?
Yes.
We, the people, elected those guys. And maybe that could be one of the reasons where even if we push him to the end, that may not happen. Even his resignation, that may not happen. But what we want to see through Mr. Ruto is, let him start working for his government. He knows all the people. We have reflected what was happening in the previous regime. He used to be in the government where he used to oppose. He used to tell us that Uhuru was not doing anything. I can tell you, Uhuru did a lot of things. Remember, I was once one of the frontline campaigners of William Samuel Ruto. And I used to unpack all the discourse around whoever who was trying to say that this man was bad. But, you know, you cannot know someone until you give him a chance. And what has happened with the trust I had with Mr. Ruto, it is reducing each day. And I know Ruto may not be a bad person, but the choices he made, maybe to constitute his cabinet, to constitute his advisors, just because someone is a political accomplice or helped you to win an election, it doesn't mean they qualify to operate in an office. And I think his reward system is what has brought to all these messes. Because you cannot give someone who is a lawyer, for example, Kipchumba Murkomen, we know he is a lawyer. But look at the docket he is entrusted. What kind of cases is this guy going to solve for the road? We need an engineer. We need a business person, a person who understands what economy of transport is. We need someone who can propose postmodern infrastructure. You know, look at security. Just because someone is a professor, it doesn't mean that you will come also to help the security docket shine. That's why you see the kind of reaction these guys have. When crisis comes, they go to the farthest, you know, releasing the KDF to come and defend the nation. Remember, it is the Kenyan. We, the Kenyan, are the people that these guys are treating as the enemy of the state. You know, KDF, mostly it is involved or deployed when there are cases of attacks, maybe from outside the country, or maybe in areas where security is so unstable. But what security instability is in Nairobi? Young people protesting peacefully, holding bottles of water with those flags, carrying the flag, and even they have those cards, you know, very peaceful. Then you are bringing the KDF. I really feel so bad when I watched the news yesterday of a guy called Denzel. This is a young man who was leading the protesters. And I can tell you, these young men, the likes of Rex and the other 45 lives, the young boy who did not even know what politics is about, and he lost his life in Ongata Rongai. These are people who are just trying to correct the government, to tell them that, yes, we voted for you, we have listened to you share the manifesto, we have listened to your policies, to your roadmap to various economic development, but you are not doing what you told us. You are men of lies, you know? Because what I make out of the political campaign of the Kenya Kwanza, those guys really, they lied to Kenyans a lot. Actually, I could see Kenya becoming like a US economy in 1 year, only to realize that these guys are gifted in sweet talking, you know? You just come, you take the advantage of Mama Boga, just because you understand their problems. You start telling them how you will give them a hustler fund, hustler loan of 700 shillings, hustler loan of, see, you better even expand the circles. you expand the cooperatives, you expand even the bank environment to give loans, instead of lying to us that that hustler fund can sustain anyone's business. You know, we just need to see these guys in action. And the way forward is Mr. Ruto and his delegates, the people who are supporting him to run the government. It is a high time they bring public participation. The way we say that there is a public participation, then it is a few people who just go and propagate, they dish money, then they come back with some findings which do not represent the people. We need that old granny in the village to understand what kind of a law is being passed in parliament. That is through civic education. We need people who can go and share those documents in mother tongues. It is easy. The government has money to translate whatever the bill, whatever it is, and even use the stream media, use the radios, use even the social media, but let them unpack whatever that they are proposing to bring to the people if they do not want to conflict with Gen Z.
Okay, thank you very much. And I want just to do a follow up with you. Let me do a follow up with him about some of the issues he has mentioned. And maybe if you're joining us for the very first time, you can join the family of Brother Benson Media through subscription. We will really appreciate you so much. Now, you've talked about the young man Denzel, and there's also one that narrated his story on the ordeal he went through in the hands of the people that abducted him. And he's a young man who his only mistake, maybe the government see all the people who abducted him, because he came on the street to fight for the right, to ask where the taxes that we are paying are going, and what are the taxes going, and what is the government doing with the money that is being collected. But now this is now what brings me about the dialogue that even the political elite, I might call so, are calling for. Before even you come to dialogue, what are you doing with the people that have been abducted? Because even if you read the Standard of today, there are almost around 18 people still not yet known where they are. Yeah. And we are going for dialogue. What are we going to dialogue about? Yet the young men, these are kids, people of 19 years, and you're still saying, let us come and dialogue. They are telling you there are some of us who are still missing. When are you going to produce them? And you're telling us, let's make a committee of 150 and dialogue. That is one. You've talked about the Hustler Fund, and if you look at, there's a scandal on the Hustler Fund that was done, I think last week, whereby the people even who were given money, their IDs were not there, and the money might not even be recovered. So does this one, all the things that now we are saying here, and the firing of cabinet, will this one get the president to get the confidence and the trust of people of Kenya? Because that is it. You might have fired the cabinet, you might have done all that, the bill is down, but will this one bring trust? Because nobody believes you, because the campaign has been a campaign of lies, a campaign of not being truthful to the people that you serve. Will this one bring that confidence and trust in him? Before we hand in Makobura, Mr. Ndeto, will this one bring those confidence and trust to the president, to his people?
Number one, it is so sad. When I listened to Joshua Okayo narrate his story on what happened and what kind of information this guy was asking him, I really felt bad. And if the government do not know why we young people, we are getting so angry, it is when we see what you are doing to us, just because we are trying to keep you on check. We are just trying to compare the notes that this is what you promised us, Mr. President, about the university students. You told us that help every person will be able to get adequate amount of money to lower the burden of the parents, and also to increase access to education among as many young people. Then, good leadership among young people who have focus, like that young man, a person who understands why he should even get to the street. Then you start taking him through such kind of treatment. Then we are saying, you have also come so much. We have also a lot of young people who are missing. I saw one parent at Kenyatta, and she was just asking of where about her son. She had gone to all the hospitals, the mortuaries, just to check if they are there, to all the police stations. What can you tell such a parent, Mr. President? And yet, you are saying that we should listen to you. Then, when you come into the interviews, when asked questions about whereabouts of some young people, you seem not to even understand. Is it that you do not, your people do not tell you or give you morning briefs? We know what kind of intelligence is in the State House. Every morning, you must be given a brief on the state affairs. Do you want to tell us you don't know even how many people have lost? You don't even watch to the news. You don't listen to our parents complaining. You don't listen to us telling us that some of our brothers have died. Some of our sisters, we do not know where they are. I feel so bad as a young person. And I've never seen such a peaceful protest adding up to loss of over 50 lives. You know, that is so sad. To the hustler funding, I think I like the structure that Moi Kibaki had brought in, the issue of youth fund, you know, where as a group of young people, you can come up with a proposal and a business idea, then you are given some good amount of money, which you can pay back within some reasonable time. Other than you give me something that is retro, and you have also only given me, then you limit my my capability of even getting more. So I think anything around hustler fund, let these guys restructure, because that is one sector where you will find a lot of money getting lost to some people. Then you start hearing there is a certain case about hustler fund and what, and yet this is our money. It is the money that we are paying that you are allocating to such a docket. How many, what is the committee, how is the committee constituted? You know, is it representative? Do you bring in people with disability? Do you consider maybe even the old? Do you consider the age cohort? How do you constitute those committees that really safeguard those resources for Kenyans? Do you audit? Do you give us the report? What is the website of the government doing? I've not seen even the audit of how much we owe IMF or even the World Bank. You know, they are delaying so much. We need to see the financial audit reports. Let us know this is the amount that we have been paying for the last 2 years. This is what is remaining, and these are the mechanisms that we need to put in place. That way I can tell you, even if you introduce a finance bill and you have accountability, we can understand. And at the end also we can support what you are saying. But without any record, without any information, we are saying what we need is change. And if you do not change yourself, we are coming there to force you and ensure that the change we want is achieved.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Ndeto, for your insight. And Makubura Yuta, I want also to listen to you and may also to ask you about the capture, or maybe the president might have been held under ransom, like the people who might have been campaigned for him and might hold him hostage and say, okay, you have to do what I'm doing. And do you feel by president dissolving this cabinet is also a way of breaking from that bondage of that he was in.
It is a way because the cabinet secretaries whom he appointed, most of them are political allies. Some of them are people who funded him in the last general election. So, in one way or another, he was kind of trying to give back, or he was trying to give them, to appoint them to those positions so that they would return back the money they used in to campaign. But allow me to say this: we are focused. We are a focused generation, and this is how focused we are. And out of that focus, we are seeing uh, the president is really understanding as well, and we really applaud him for that. We are a focused people, and we are working towards. We are headed towards a particular place. We said that we were rejecting the bill. We gave reasons why we were rejecting it, and the president did not listen to us. We told the members of parliament, they didn't listen to us. They passed it without our consent. When they passed it, we told them, okay, fine. We are going to ensure that you don't implement it. We did, it failed. Currently, it has not been ascended to. We managed. Number two, we said fire the CSS, and we gave reasons. They are incompetent, they are living a luxurious life. Most of them are not even educated. Some of them do not even know their role. We also said that they lack public trust. We gave so many reasons. He listened to us. That is fine. Number three, we said ensure that the IBC is in place. We saw them trying to rectify that the other time. And we don't want to really dwell on that. Number four, we are saying dissolve the parliament. And we are also now giving the reasons why we want the parliament dissolved. First, and the good thing is we are giving legal measures, legal way. We are doing it in a constitutional way. We want the president to dissolve the parliament, and this is why. And we have even the legal support, so that one day no one will go to court and say what we did was not right. Dissolve the parliament, Mr. President. And this is why. There's a very helpful judgment of the High Court, and it was advised by the former CJ. That advice by the former CJ is currently kept in cold, and we believe it can be invoked. The judgment and the advice, they are still fresh. And if you can remember it, it was last year. The main issue was the parliament was not meeting the constitutional threshold. And the High Court ruled that the president has the power to dissolve the parliament under certain circumstances. This decision was upheld by the High Court of Appeal. The former CJI advised the president to dissolve the parliament when the Speaker of the National Assembly failed to comply with the constitution. By then, failing to comply with the constitution meant there were so many breaches that were not met by the parliament, among which were the third rule gender, of which even in this parliament it is not met. So constitutionally we are still right. Even if we demand that this parliament be dissolved, we are still right. If the Supreme Court wants to win our hearts as the people of Kenya, then they should do exactly that, because constitutionally we are right, and we've given the right support to that. But again, someone would ask that if the president dissolves the parliament, what next? Does the president have a full term to serve, since his term is not connected to the parliament, to the parliamentary terms? The answer is he resigns with his deputy, and we go for a new election, and that is what we are saying. We have the legal backing of everything that we are bringing
let,
on the.
let me ask you, when the parliament is dissolved, does it mean
Yes,
that the house speaker will no longer be there?
of course, they all go home. That is what we
So
meant by dissolving the parliament.
when you look at
They all
the
become
hierarchy,
illegitimate.
hierarchy of power, especially the constitution. If we don't have president and
The
the deputy president, the
Constitution
House
says
Speaker will hold the
we
office for the
act as the
president.
president, yes, or in such circumstances, even the CDF can act. But remember, this is a peaceful thing. We are not fighting. There's no, as much as they have killed the youths, we've not really fought as a country. So constitutionally, if we were fighting, then the CDF would take over as the president with the help of, the speaker with the help of the CDF. But this is a democratic way. We are following the constitution. So the speaker would be there acting as the president until we do what we do, and then we leave. That is what the constitution says.
Let me ask you, because like
Yeah.
you've not given me my food. I need to know. I need to get your answer. If we dissolve the parliament,
Yes.
so which means the parliament will no longer be in existence.
Of course, the members of parliament are recalled back to their constituencies.
Leave about recall. This is not a recall. It's dissolved because there's
Yes.
a recall, and we've dissolved the government. We've dissolved the parliament. Does it mean that the speaker too is going, or when we dissolve, the speaker will stay? Because if you recall, let's say that we are recalling the members of parliament, the speaker will still be the speaker of the house. Yeah, it's only the members of parliament who are recalled. But remember, this one we are dissolving the entire legislative arm. That is what is going to happen to the speaker? Is he going to be still the speaker, or is he also going home? And if he goes home,
he will. The speaker will then act as the president for quite some time until we get the constitutionally legitimate, president and the right leadership.
So, which means the speaker will stay. He will continue to be the speaker even if we dissolve.
Until he does the constitutional rights by giving power to the next person who is taking over.
Mr. Ndeto, do you share the same?
Myself, I have a different viewpoint.
Yeah.
I think some of the things we are discussing here, some things are possible, others are not. Because when you say like the president to dissolve the parliament, yes, he can be coerced, but remember he is in the power because we are in a democratic nation. He has the majority in the parliament. That means if he dissolves, and already the perception that the people have towards him, is either he resign, but I can tell you, whoever who will be voted in as members of parliament, they may be 90% against the president, So let us not go to those extremes, like where the president should dissolve the parliament so that we see that our prayer is looked upon. For us, what we need, if we have active institutions, if corruption comes to an end, that is what we need. Because for me, I want to see my business thrive where there is
I have a question for you. I have a question for you on that.
Yes.
The reason why we're having a problem in the Republic of Kenya, it's because of the current government. And Ruto is the driver of this government. So if maybe we are having a puncture, it could be that the driver he decided not to be on the right lane or the right road. He decided to get out of the right road. That is the reason why our vehicle cannot move. So if we need our vehicle back in good state, we have to change the driver. And this is why we are saying, with the rogue driver, we cannot still reach the destination. That is why we are saying there's no need of dissolving, there's no need of clearing up with the CSS, and then we leave the parliament which cannot even do their role. We are very clear. If a parliament cannot do their role, we told them we don't want the bill. They still passed it. They came back to the people of Kenya. They asked the people, remember, we've delegated power to them. They were supposed to come back and ask the people, what is your say on this? We told them we don't want it. What did they do? With their majority, they passed it. And then this thing went to the president. But still, we told them we don't want this thing. That is when they rejected it. Now they're coming back, meaning they have failed to do their role as a parliament. That is why we are insisting the person who gave them the person who instructed them to pass the bill was the president. Meaning, these members of parliament could not use their own brains to make the right decisions. They are being driven by the president to make such kind of decisions. What are we saying? The president is making decisions on behalf of the members of parliament, which is wrong. Constitutionally, that is wrong. He should resign. Those are the reasons why we are saying he's not competent. He's not a good leader who should be entrusted to continue running this Republic of Kenya. Whether if he continues by either firing the CSS and not leaving him, is the main problem. Is the main problem because it's the driver of the Republic of Kenya.
Let me say this out of what you have alluded. You know, Ruto has also inherited some culture of running, how governments have been run there before, especially in the country. And for me, when I see how he is governing the nation, it's out of, maybe, I don't know, it's out of reluctancy. It's out of thinking that Kenyans do not have big minds, you know. And I think those are the cultures which has brought this country to no development, you know. So here we are saying there is a new revolution. We want to correct the president that whatever you have been doing, it is not done in the right way, even if maybe those people who have been president before, whether they used the very system of governance, we are saying at this time and age, that is not the way. We need a government that is working. We need to see if it is the parliament, they are independent enough to come up with the bills and the bill that are based on people's needs, you know. So the analogy you have given about the driver, sometimes you find it is not about the driver. Maybe there are rules and regulations of the road. For example, if whoever who is supposed to like ensure the car is not overloaded, or maybe the driver is not overspeeding, is corrupted, then you cannot blame the driver. The driver is in business, you know. So in this case, what I'm saying, I'm not in any way defending Mr. Ruto, but I am saying that it is the culture that he has found. He has been in the system of the Moi regime, the Kibaki regime, the Uhuru regime. Maybe he has borrowed so much ideas of how government are run from those old days. But we are saying today, if you do not listen to the people and you are forcing us to pay tax, my tax means I need good roads. My tax means I need good education. I need good health. I need water. My tax means I just need all the services that the government can give. And if that is not the case, then you are treading on a wrong praise, you know. And we are saying, even if our parents may not be in a position to fight for us, because for them, they did during the independence. The first 30 years after independence, we have seen how they ran the country, you know. Then this is another 30 years after, it's a second liberation. So here, we are saying that we don't need even to do a lot of conversation or dialogues. We just want to see someone who is telling us that this is what I'm going to do. We just need results. Actually, that is one of the characteristics of Gen Z. They don't talk too much.
Yeah.
They just want results. You
Yes.
know?
Mr.
Don't.
Ndeto, I want to ask you a question, a simple one.
Mm,
Have you ever gone for an interview?
yes.
When you go for an interview, let's say for whichever position that you applied for, before the panelist, they ask you if maybe you know the role that you applied for, and then they start challenging you. They start asking you questions on how you would ensure that you perform as per the guidelines of the company. Is that right?
Yes.
When William Samoei Ruto, the president, when he was seeking for this seat, when he wanted to become the president, he came before the people. Of course, he knew the challenges that the people of Kenya are going through, and before the people asked him, Mr. President, do you know that there's high level of corruption in the Republic of Kenya? He said yes. What are the ways, which are the mechanisms that you're going to put in place to ensure that we deal with the corruption? He told us very well in his manifesto what he was going to do. He also knew very well when he was going for this position that the number of youths who are unemployed, the number is too high. He knew that. He also knew that the previous governments have been coercing the parliament to make decisions which are not right. He knew that, meaning he went to this, he asked us to vote for him, knowing very well what that office came with and what he was expected to do. But the problem is he decided not to do those things. Currently, he has started implementing some which he had promised he would do because he needed the votes from the people. He has started implementing just because the youths came out and they started reminding him that, Mr. President, you told us you are going to do this. Kindly do this. After killing so many people in his government, after so many youths were killed, when they were just reminding the president that, Mr. President, you know what? You said Mama Mboga, watu wa boda boda, the youths, we are going to be in this government. We are not here. You said that you are going to solve the issue of unemployment. It's now 2 years. We are not seeing that. Instead, what are we seeing? We are seeing members of parliament, we are seeing cabinet secretaries who are very rude to the people. And when they came to us, when they were looking for these votes, they were very clear. You know what? I'm going to ensure that I give this post to the young people. These are the things that we are saying as a youth or as young people. We are not going to be taken for a ride. We are not going to let people mismanage us. We are not going to let leaders to try uh, do their things the way they want to do at the expense of the poor people. People are suffering. There's so many people in the Republic of Kenya who can't even afford basic meal. So many people in Kenya currently cannot either. Most of them take maybe lunch, they go without supper. People are suffering, and that is what we are saying. The government in place, they know what they are supposed to do, but they are still allowing among them, the leaders, to get into corrupt dealings. These are the kind of things we are saying we don't want. The other day, you saw a whole minister who is a billionaire. When he went for this position, he clearly said that he is worth 1 point something billion. This is the same person who is still going to bring fake fertilizers to the people of Kenya, and they are selling these fake fertilizers. What are we saying as a people? We cannot be managed by wealthy people who have looted the Republic of Kenya. And this time round, as a youth, we have noted and we are very keen. We have done our analysis and we are saying no to such kind of leaders. And that is why we are saying Ruto knew very well that fake fertilizer was coming in the Republic of Kenya. As a president, he would have sacked the CS of agriculture. He didn't do that. This cabinet secretary went through the parliament. Instead of the parliament sending him home, they bribed the parliament, and he was until today. He was still a member of cabinet. He was still a cabinet secretary in the government of Kenya Kwanza. What kind of leadership is this? We need fresh people who are not corrupt. We need smart people. We need accountable people. We need leaders who are very responsible. And that is the stand of the young people. And we're not going to defend this government at all, at all.
Great. I really concur with you. Let me start with the thing about the interview. Surely, yeah, you must be assessed and asked the question on whether to be tested, whether you understand about the role. But sometimes what happens is you have heard of nepotism, you have heard of connections, you know, where even people who are not qualified end up in the system, and you know how much evil they bring to the systems. And we are saying that the only mistake that Ruto made, he can govern this nation if he wanted to. Because for him, I can tell you, out of maybe running during all those governments, this guy has experience of how government are run. But I think whoever he chose, he brought his brothers, he brought his sisters, he brought people who are so close. And I can tell you, today, if you are told to judge your mother, if you are told to judge your brother, sometimes it is so hard. And I think this man, those are the challenges he has been going through, because he has people who came so close, who supported him, and he ended up rewarding them. But these people are non-performers. And this guy maybe have also been even the very same way we are saying, everyone can see that those who constitute the government, majority of them, they loot so much, including the agriculture minister, for example, the one who was transacting soil and stones, purporting to be fertilizers. You know, we have also seen in the health sector and some even other sectors, like even the roads and such. So what we are saying is, sometimes when you are judging your friend, it is so hard. And I think this is one opportunity that Ruto has, that he will tell his friends, it's no longer about me. I did what I could humanly do. And like you have said, maybe in the last 2 years, these guys has looted enough. So it is a good opportunity for him to show his good leadership. Yesterday he was in Kajiado. He told us that tugojee 2027 na tutaangalia tuone kama mtu amefanya kazi yake. And that statement, it's so weighty. Maybe, and you see today he has dissolved the cabinet, meaning even himself, he knows there are characters who are derailing the system, who are spoiling the system from moving forward. And I think out of this protest by Gen Z, it has made it so easy for Ruto to bring the changes that he needs. And if he has the goodwill of this country, I can tell you, he can be a man of legacy. He can be a man who will transform this nation to the likes of Singapore if he utilizes this opportunity well. If he listens to the voice of young people, he listens to the kind of propositions that these people are making. You know, we are not here to overthrow you, Mr. Ruto. We just want to tell you that you promised us, you even came to our churches, whatever you are saying, you are on the pulpit. So, and we are demanding our rights. Whether you are going to borrow, whether you are going to cut cost, what we need is the change that you really proposed for us. You told us that Raila Odinga is not fit, because by then he was, you are saying yeye ni mzee, yeye ni mtu wa vitendawili. Don't make a mistake of another handshake. Remember what it took you through in 2018. Today you want to tell us that you also want to bring handshake. You used to tell us how much government resources are getting lost out of the handshake government. How different are you that if today you have a handshake government, it will also not lead to such leakages, where a lot of resources, a lot of public finances and resources will get lost. We just want you to be accountable. We want you to listen to the people. We want you to know that when a revolution comes, like for example, if you read about the revolution of the Roman monarchy, you know, it started just so simple. The son of a king rapes a noble woman, and this woman goes and reports to the noble men, and she commits suicide. Then these noble men, they just spiraled this case, and they came together with the people, and through the leadership of a guy by the name Brutus, they brought a revolution that ended the king into detention. And whenever the king tried to recover all his kingdom, it was impossible. So I can tell you, if Ruto knows that whatever problems Kenya is getting through, it's out of the past regimes, call them by names. We have a very active judicial system. Let us know who looted what, that this is the reason why the government of today is not working. We have seen this happening in South Africa, where a president was detained. You know, if you feel that someone failed and that is why we are going through what we are going, put those people to records. Otherwise, we don't need all these stories. Every time blames, every time we were handed over the government, which had empty coffers. Today, every time you stand in the campaign trails, you talk about who failed what. No, we want to see what you can do. We gave you the job. Please do the job.
Yes, very well. So, as you're just reminding the president that he is in the process of losing the legitimacy and trust of the people of Kenya, we are reminding him that he has to work towards that to bring it back. Trust of the people is very, very essential, especially when you're a leader. And him being a leader of the whole republic, he has to bring the trust. He has to do things which are making sense. He has to do things which are reflecting the office of the president. The office of the president is a unifying factor. And for that reason, whenever he's making any decisions, he should make decisions which are unifying the people of Kenya. Again, we understand that he's a smart guy. Dr. William Samoei Ruto is truly a smart president. We don't dispute that, but we want to see him being responsible in a government that is leading. We want to see accountability. We don't want to see close allies trying to talk to people as if things are not right. So I think that's my last remark. I'll also give you maybe 1 minute to say a last remark, and then we end the show.
Great. As my parting shot, I would like to join the spirit of young men and women who are mourning their brothers, parents who are also mourning their sons and daughters. And we want to be categorical to the government that stop this thing of abducting young people. When someone tells you the truth, you don't have to harm them. We have a long life, and you cannot curtail my life just because of conservatism. You just want to hold the positions of power like throughout your life. Remember that, Ruto, you have come from Sugoi, and you used to tell us the stories of how you raised from a young boy who used to go to school without shoes, who could spend nights without food, or meals, a young boy who used to wear tatters, you have risen up, you started selling chicken, you know, we have your story. And today, you are in State House. Don't kill a young person who has the same aspirations. You are making a very big mistake. Tell your men, especially the IG, whatever they are doing to us, it is bad. Our parents has a lot of hope to us, just like your parents. The very same way, your parent had hope that one day you will bring change in your family. Remember, we are also following the same trajectory. So by curtailing or ending my life, you have killed a lot of hopes, a lot of dreams in this nation. Our parents even sold lands. They took us to school. Now that we are looking for a job, every day they are praying for us so that at one point we shall give the returns so that we buy them some lands, so that we just do some things. Then you come and kill me. You come and abduct me. You are making a very grievous mistake. And if this kind of a behavior is going to persist, we shall now come in State House. Because if you continue killing us, we will have no fear to die. But even yourself, know that your body is made of flesh, and one day there is nothing like eternity on this earth. Every person will have to die. So give the rights to those people who have, the families who have lost their children or their sons and daughters, compensate them. Those who are missing, and you know very well, they are in the hands of your soldiers, release them. Then moving forward, listen to what we are telling you as young men and women. We voted you in. We campaigned for you. You promised us. We are not asking too big. That whatever you suggested or whatever you promised, you fulfill. That is exactly what we want. Don't go in parliament like you just give them money so that they can pass some policies just because of political interest. No, we are not going to wait for 2027. We want to see the change. Now, if the change does not come, we are going to force the change. We are going to force the change. And I'm so happy to be part of this discussion. I represent comrades. I am not a leader of anyone. Myself, I'm just a follower. And I belong to Gen Z movement.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mutua Deto. It was nice having a discussion with you. To our viewers, I want to take this opportunity to thank you so much. If you're new to Brother Benson Media, you can kindly like and subscribe to the channel. We will really appreciate. Until tomorrow, we are grateful, and everyone have a good evening. Thank you.